Stand by to launch FanStream Sports.
3, 2, 1. Let's start.
Hello, sports fans. Welcome to FanStream Sports. Nothing but pure sports.
And welcome, everybody, to FanStream Sports, powered by DSP Media. This is the Fighting Irish Daily Blitz, and I'm your host, Rob Thidoff, also known as RPT. You can find me on Twitter at PThidoff. So for episode 52 today, we're going to talk women's basketball for this week. They went 2-0. However, I wanted to go over the turnovers because I mentioned that before. Since the first of the year, their turnovers have been their biggest issue, and I'm tracking that every single game. So the first game this Thursday against Clemson, way too high, 17 turnovers. They did have 21 steals, and Dara Mabry, I know I'm pretty hard on her a lot. She did have 5 of those steals. And today against Virginia, they had 16 turnovers. So it's still too many. They got 2 wins, but the turnovers are going to be a problem if this continues. So let's go for the Clemson game on Thursday. Clemson, not that great of a team. It was at Clemson. We trailed most of this game, but pulled it out in the end, 57-54. What kind of made me, even though it was a win, what made me feel not the greatest about this game, despite the score, South Carolina, the number 1 team in the country, which is we're aiming to get to that level. They beat this team by 54 points earlier this year. We had poor free throw shooting in this game, led by Olivia Miles, 20 points, 4 rebounds, 8 assists. Maddie Wellspeld had 15 points as well. Sonia Citron, she struggled again for that game on Thursday night. She only had 2 points, and we had 17 turnovers. And as I mentioned before, but we did have 21 steals. So we beat Clemson. We should beat Clemson, but we should have beat them by a lot more. But a win's a win, I guess. So today, Sunday, home against Virginia. I was really interested about this game because former player Sam Brunell transferred to Virginia. She's a 5th-year senior there right now. Highly recruited player, probably the last highly recruited player that Muffet McGraw had before she retired. 5-star athlete. She never seemed to gel at Notre Dame. She didn't have an awful career at Notre Dame, but she was a pretty big disappointment. She always seemed to complain a lot, kind of a drama queen. Whether she was that, I can't really say, but her actions on the court pretty much made me under that impression. And the ironic thing today, she did not play because she ended up getting into a fight during their last game during this week. So she was suspended for this game. So she didn't get a chance to play during this game anyway. However, I did see some Notre Dame fans and players and just Notre Dame staff go over to her and everything seemed very cordial. So maybe she just kind of gave off that negative energy and really wasn't the negative player she was. But long story short, she never ended up being the big time player that we expected at Notre Dame. So here is the game started off kind of back and forth for the first 2 minutes. Dara Mabry makes a steal. She's going on for the layup. She gets fouled, and it just looks like her knee hit the opponent's knee. Nothing major, but she looked to be in agonizing pain. She could not walk off the court. She needed assistance. She came back around mid of the second half in a big knee brace. So I don't know if she tore her knee up or if it's just precautionary, but either they're going to have to take it day by day, or it looks like she could be out for the rest of the season. I have no knowledge of that, but the pain she was in and the knee brace she was on the sidelines, not really. I never can get that right for basketball, but on the bench, when she was on the bench coming out in the midway through the second half, it just did not look good. However, and I'm never about someone getting hurt and looking at the positive, but this makes our team a little bit bigger. And that's even before this season started. I noticed that this is a bigger team. Even Coach McGraw didn't have the biggest players, but this team's pretty lanky, especially with Cassandra. And I always didn't know if it was Cassandra or Cassandra. She goes by Cass or Cassan. So I'm just going to say Cassan. She's more or less a senior, but she enrolled early this year after the winter break. And with KK Bransford taking Dara's spot today, Dara Mabry's 5'7", KK Bransford's 5'11". And I would love to have Dara Mabry out there. Don't get me wrong with the 3-point shooting. But if she can't go the rest of the season, I think this is a somewhat of a interesting dynamic because it's just going to make the team even taller than it was if she's not out there. And we use that to our advantage. After she went out, we went on a pretty good run, putting the ball inside more. It freed up more 3-point shots for us. So we'll see how that goes. I hope Dara's fine and she can play again. But if she can't, I think we can use our height to our advantage going forward. So Olivia Miles, she had a pretty solid game overall. She did get into foul trouble early on, but I remember the announcers. I keep thinking she's like a Jason Kidd type, but Jason Kidd didn't score that much. I'd put her on the level like a Magic Johnson for women's basketball. She's just that good right now, but she turns the ball over too much right now. We'll see how that goes going forward, as these turnovers are going to be an issue if they do not control them. Sonia Citron, she had been struggling big time the last 2 weeks. She had a hell of a game today. 6 of 7 from 3-point range, 20 points, 6 rebounds, or 9 rebounds to go along with the 20 points. She looked in a zone today, so it looks like she's back. Maybe she was sick last week, but I always thought, even though Olivia Miles makes this team go, I still think Sonia's the best player on this team. And for us to make that deep run, she's going to have to continue to play continue to play the way she's capable of. That's what I'm trying to say. Sorry, I got tongue tied there. What else here? Back to Cass Prosper, the talented. She's not really a freshman. She's more or less a senior in high school playing. I love this kid. She's 6'2". She can play inside and outside. She's not afraid at all. She's got this positive vibe to her. She just has that court presence. I mentioned that earlier last week. The only thing is, fearless can be sometimes, I don't want to say playing dumb, but sometimes she just takes some shots she shouldn't, but I don't want her to be scared either. So take the good and bad with that. But sometimes she just needs to kind of control that energy a little bit more. But we're going to, if Dara Mabry's out for the rest of the year, she's really going to be more of a presence than I thought when she joined the team just pretty much 3 weeks ago. So look to see more of Cass Prosper going forward. And I just love this kid. Keep shooting. Just kind of watch some of those shots. Some of those shots are just not the most smart shots to have, is what I'm trying to say here. Oh, and I forgot. I didn't even tell you the ending score. It was 76-54 today. I told you last week, playing both Clemson and Virginia this week, both teams had winning records, but we should beat these teams by at least 20 points. We did that today against Virginia. We did not do that against Clemson. Next action for Notre Dame is this Thursday on the ACC Network Extra. That's where you have to go use your cable provider and watch it online. I still can't figure out YouTube TV. When I had Spectrum, I could do this pretty easy, but with YouTube TV, it's pretty tough to do unless you just go into YouTube and someone may be streaming that for free. That's the only way to do that. But if you can't, just do what I do and just follow it on ESPN on Gamecast. It's not, watching it, but it's just following it play by play. And that game's this Thursday against FS or Florida State. They're 17-4, so they're a pretty decent team. But we should win this game by at least 10 points, I would say. But we'll see how that happens. I said it against Clemson, and we barely won that game. So a 2-0 week. We've won our 4th in a row. We're currently ranked 7th in the nation right now. But as I mentioned before, who knows what's going to happen with Dara Mabry? That's a great 3-point shooter. If she is out for the rest of the year, that does make us use our size more, which is a mismatch for other teams. We haven't had that in pretty much, really, Notre Dame's never had that. Maybe going back to Ruth Riley in 2001. But even with the 2001 national title team with Ruth Riley and then the 2018 team, yes, we had Jessica Shepard, who was a decent, I think she was about 6'2" or 6'3". But Notre Dame has never been, there may have been more known for, a perimeter type team with their women's basketball. But with this team, we got some height. And if Dara Mabry's out for a while, we're going to try to exploit that because that's what Coach Ivey did today. So, and then 2, just looking over my notes here, the biggest thing is 2 turnovers. We got to get these turnovers down because I don't care if we have a size advantage now or if Dara Mabry comes back and she's hitting 60% 3-point range. if we turn the ball over between that 15 times to 16 times, we're not going to get to the Final Four. We're not going to win a national title. Since I've been tracking this, UNC 19, Wake Forest 15, Syracuse was the best. We only had 10, but this week Clemson 17, Virginia 16. I'm going to harp on this. I know I'm repeating myself. I said this earlier in the podcast, but we've got to get these turnovers down. We got to do it. This is the biggest thing from keeping this team from going to a Final Four and winning a national title. So thank you so much for joining me for episode 52. And as always, go Irish.